Oh, so where did everyone Well, we will leave it to the chair as to when you'd like to call to order.
Well, let's not keep anyone past time. Let's go ahead and open our meeting. Sorry, just taking a little bit up. It's been a couple months since I've been here, sorry guys. All right, anything we need to start the meeting with before I get going with our agenda items? Okay. Let's go ahead and do a quick review from the 8-10 meeting of our minutes. Just take a quick look and then we'll submit those for approval. Anyone want to motion to approve the meeting minutes from last time?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, yeah.
A second.
All right, let's go ahead and pass that. And then it looks like we've got a city council presentation coming up. Charlene, would you like to take over?
Yeah, I tortured everyone with this last time, but I'm just gonna get a little bit more feedback, and then since you weren't here, I just want to make sure we are presenting what we need to present. One moment, please. Share the screen. Sorry. Try and share my screen. Okay. So it looks very much like it did last time, but I wanted to get a couple of opinions. So this is just an annual thing. It's usually about 10 minutes at the first part of a city council meeting. Our report needs to be provided on the 27th. So generally the chair plus anyone else who wants to join comes. So I want to make sure that it's representing what you would like to share. It's kind of nuts and bolts, but I think it does, kind of help the council to understand our presence and our continued relevance in the community. I'll find some more pictures for this. Which do you prefer? Would you prefer that I round it off, or would you prefer that the numbers be exactly what we have in the stats?
I think it depends on what they're looking for. Me being a huge staff person, and this is what I do for a living, it depends on what you're looking for. If you want to have kind of a round off.
It just kind of depends what's easier for you to present, because I'm happy to do it either way.
Doesn't matter. I don't think so. We can, if you put the exact numbers, then they kind of get an overall view of what is exactly there. If we estimate, then it's not, it's not quantitative data. I prefer seeing solid quantitative data.
Okay, I'll just leave these numbers
Yeah, I think
in
you're good.
as the actual numbers, and then and I can write some little notes. Like, this is one of the staff members. We digitized the art collection, and to do that, they had to take everything down, take it out of frames. We had we got some grant money to have a photographer come in and shoot it. And then they had to reassemble everything, rehang
Yeah.
everything, so it was a really Herculean project. But we are seeing good use of all that overall collection. The yearbooks are probably the strongest component, but we had significant use in the others as well, and I could break that out if you think we need to break it out. But so that one. Goes like up. And then this is just a little bit on the tech. We had 31,179 computer sessions. That's in both adult wing and the children's wing. We printed over 72,000 pages. Printing is a very vital resource that we offer. We learn that more and more because the majority of people can do an awful lot of their personal work and business off of their phones, or they may just not have printers at home. So with emailing, printing has kind of gone the wayside for a lot of things, but we find it to be very valuable. And then the makerspace continues to get good usage. This is library programs, and I can describe what those are. So we had over 30,000 people at library programs. Library hall was used 223 times for library use, 209 times for city use, and 12 times for rentals. I think the perception with library hall is, well, it's not used very much because the lobby that is visible is not always where the action is, but we really use it a lot. And the city uses it an awful lot themselves. So we want to be able to show that that resource is being really valued by both the library and the city, and we've done everything from planning and zoning meetings in there, to training meetings, to all the library programs that we hold in there, which isn't every single one. We do some in the other library, and we did some at the stage just for the summer reading capture of a newer audience going to the playground, but so we're sharing that. This is an art program where people could come and learn to make watercolor. This is STEM Like a Girl, and then this is part of Orem on stage. So just a smattering of programs that we had. And then the summer reading overview, I presented it to these guys last time, but it's a big part of what we do, so we just wanted to briefly go through that with the council. And then I guess I'm just wondering what you think in the 10-minute time frame would you want to present. You don't have to present anything more than that, but we want to make sure that.
So I have your voices for the presentation.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with that.
I can fill in 10 minutes pretty easily. I think the important thing is to make certain that we're representing exactly what you would like the city council to see, all the efforts that you as the library have put in, what you really want to have stand out. If you feel like this represents exactly what you want them to garner from what's happened from fiscal year, I think it's a good way to go. Obviously, less is more on a slide that keeps people's attention, so it looks pretty good.
I can separate out the check-in, check-out items. Our circulation is still really robust, so that is an important part that we want them to understand, that even with e-material options, we still have a strong presence with the physical collection. A lot of people ask, well, when do you just not have a physical library? And I would say that is miles and miles and miles, and hopefully way beyond my lifetime that they would, even find that need, because we see, that's a growing number still, and so we do just want to emphasize that. But that's one of the more common themes that some people kind of get stuck in is, well, why do we have, so many books? But Our collection is a current collection. We weed regularly, which means we evaluate the usage of every book by the last checkout, by condition, by the current status of the material in it. And so we're not just a repository for books that have no value.
Right.
Now every book has a reader, and every reader has a book, and it may not circulate every year, but if it circulated 18 times in the last 3 years, maybe that's still worth keeping. But if it's not circulating at all, then we send it out the door because we have no space or no inclination to hold items that aren't valuable to the collection. So I can flesh out a little bit more and talk about our card holders too. We are not allowed to just stack every card holder we've ever had. So you have to purge the records until you have a current number. Sharon's compiling our state report, our annual state report, and there are very rigid guidelines on what everyone can count as circulation and the number of patrons and the number of cards and all those kind of things, so that they are accurately measured library to library across the state. So.
It might be a good idea, and it's totally up to you, but I've noticed when I'm doing presentations like this, especially when we're trying to show importance, maybe we have these numbers on a bar graph in representation to one another. So literally we can see how many physical items are checked out versus the e-materials, and for some reason that just clicks with some people, to really see a visual representation of how many more we actually still have in circulation and how important it is. So maybe a couple of these slides, if you have some kind of a visual graph, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, how do you do that?
You guys can, awesome, sorry.
Do we have any data about as far as programming, how many teens you're getting to come as opposed to kids? I don't know.
If it's teen specialty programs we do, so tween scene and teen specific, yes, but if it's just a general audience, we don't. We just count the number. We don't count, the number of kids versus the number of adults if it's just one large general audience program.
Right. I just wondering if there's some way to visualize the types of programming. I know just seeing the emails, there's a lot of teen scene and this stuff, that kind of thing, and just break out what kind of things are going on.
We do feel like that the staff really does want to offer a mix. Obviously, young families are always going to be the library's bread and butter, but we want to capture their attention when they're the tweens, and then as the teens transition into adulthood, we feel like that's important. If they have a relationship with the library, they will continue that relationship with the library and hopefully replicate it with their own families going forward. So yeah, that's definitely something that's important. When we went through the previous recession, we did see our usage stay really, really strong, and we want people to recognize that is a value for them to be able to use materials and to take home books and borrow them rather than buy every book, as people maybe evaluate different purchasing choices in their budget and things like that. So we're kind of looking for stats in the coming years, but for sure we can show some of our teen and tween presence too.
I haven't seen previous presentations, but it looks as though we're trying to show City Council we're engaged with the public's engaged with the library, that we're a valuable resource, and people are using the library, so I think you're accomplishing that goal.
Yeah, our funds are being properly utilized. It's obviously having a return value from what we're showing as usage. So.
Yeah, we have some new council members, so just kind of an anchor point of where we are as far as city services, and we do stress that we are one of the popular public faces of the city of Orem. Parks are a popular public face. Our water service isn't really a public face, although it's a very, very valuable resource because people just don't get to see that kind of part in action. So we do try to represent that as well.
anticipate a lot of questions from the council, or just kind of just present and then?
I don't know. I don't know, it just kind of depends, and, I mean, I will be there and I will certainly answer anything that is specific to staff, of course, but it's hard to say.
Do we have anything listing some of the community outreach that we've done as far as, we've talked about this in our previous meetings, you know, where we have monthly things and, you know, what we have to help engage our community that way. I think those items that you have been really focusing on with these particular themes around the holiday season or not, some have been controversial, some are a good way to connect with the public. Is there anything that you feel that has been really popular with Public Connect that we've been able to do?
We've had a really good experience because we've been doing COVID catch-up. We weren't able to, we usually write grants to bring out performers. And so we got a little bit backed up during the year that people weren't really traveling and that. And it's always a really good experience when a established artist in whatever genre can meet and greet and kind of be in the student world, whether it's an assembly or music class or something like that. So those have been some of the most fun experiences. We've also, done some other partnerships out and about, so we can highlight community outreach as well.
I think that might be a good way to show that the library has a connection, not just through reading, but through other literacy methods, obviously, especially if they're popular in the public.
Yeah, we will put those in.
Those are just some of my thoughts. Obviously, they probably want to touch base with you shortly before we have the presentation.
For sure. And then it's just in the council chambers, and whoever's presenting will be at kind of the center table, but we'll be there and make sure the tech is all together. Chapter, 1 second. Oh yeah, add stats for the grants received. Yeah, we can do that. Last year was a really big grant.
Yeah, that was
a really big
fantastic
grant year for us. So.
I know any type of funding, monies that don't come from tax dollars that we're able to pull in is going to look really good to, especially some of these new people, so.
Yeah,
I think
that's great. Thank you so much.
idea.
I appreciate that. We'll have that in. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you.
We're just kind of running through the presentation again, getting Amber's and other suggestions on it. We talked about, I'm going to add a few more pictures and add in maybe some bar graphs to show some of our stats in circulation, talk about our teen and tween presence, which isn't really as fleshed out in this as it could be, and then talk about community outreach and maybe some grants received since we had a pretty big year with grants last year. We were able to do a fair number of things.
Grant writing is not easy, so the fact that you guys do that, you can get monies, definitely pull that out.
Grant tracking and grant follow-up.
That is the key. So, all right, well that sounds good. Let me stop the share and we can go back to the regular meeting. Turn it around, a few more people. Chelsea's joined. So, since the last time we met, August is definitely a planning month because we are resetting for fall, and we are also starting to work on the framework for a strategic planning effort for the next 3 to 5 years. We have kind of accomplished some big things that were on the strategic plan with the realization of Library Hall, and we want to kind of revisit that with where we are. We've had the divisions have been kind of working on specific parts of their areas. So we have the front of house division, which is patron services, the back of house division, which is tech services, and so they've been working on that. So we're going to kind of take that and assemble it into the library side of it, and then we will be working on public and other sides of data collection and feedback and other parts of it. So we're getting the framework together right now. We spent a good chunk of time today in librarians meeting talking about that, and that is something we want to go forward with for the next at least fiscal year, which for us ends June 30th, could extend into the calendar year, but that is something that we are looking forward to doing, and we will be working directly with you guys on feedback as well as other outreach and staff kind of opportunities for that. We also have come back, Storytime is back, Lego is back. There's a lot of activities on this newsletter. I use my reading glasses for the new newsletter format, but that is just a symptom of my age. And then it does kind of outline the Orem Reads, which kicks off with, can I remember it?
Rom-com.
I think it probably kicked up, it wasn't
Saturday,
Snapdragon
September
Shakespeare.
24th, rom-com.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that will be an all-day event. People can attend. We have additional information going out. We have posters around that show the different sessions for that, so they don't have to attend at all. They can come in, they can come out, they can pick and choose. And then other things you can see marked for Orem Reads. Joseph Hillpack is the keynote for the rom-com event, and then we will also be bringing out Sarah Eden and Christina Lauren, which is actually a duo. And we just restored film screenings in the media auditorium. We have been doing Elder Quest, which is another outreach effort. Elder Quest comes in to watch movies in the media auditorium, which is the smaller place in the library before we had the larger auditorium where they would do weekly film screenings. We are doing a community film screening in the Ashland Auditorium once a month, and then those every Friday because media staff can start the film, chat, address any patron needs, so they don't have to, run back and forth. So that would be a good thing to get back up and going. The audience is coming back slow, but you never know. We could get them all coming back soon. We talked today, I don't know if you saw on National Media Day what the Daily Herald featured the library's media collection in an article. And from that, some of the outreach and event folks from the city manager's office wanted us to work together on an event. It looks like it's probably going to be November 4th, and we're putting together kind of, the most current term I heard for it was Mockbuster, but because they want to play off of the old Blockbuster. So we're looking to make that kind of an event focused on either introducing the public to the media collection or celebrating those who are our regulars. We are using some grant money to invest in some DVD players that can circulate. We have returned to the 80s because everybody needs a player, and we're actually even investing in CD players and a boot box because we have a vast CD collection, but sometimes people are like, where do I play this? So we've got a couple of machines to test out, and we'll kind of check on demand for it, but we don't want to have a collection that is unavailable to people because they haven't maintained that same technology at their homes. People streamlined, people got rid of their DVDs, but so that's going to be fun. And we participated in the United Way Day of Caring, where library staff went out to do service in the community, and then on the 9/11 Day of Service that some community members were holding on 9/10, we were the recipients of service. We had a group of young adults come in, and they participated in a really significant project for us because we had the collection was kind of broken up, so we had Spanish and then picture books, and then I can't remember the exact. They were broken up into the ABCs and 1, 2, 3. So they really wanted it to be more, here's the specialty thing, so here's Spanish, here's ABCs, here's 1, 2, 3s, and then the rest of it is picture books. So that involved shifting a whole lot of books, and it was a really big project, but they got a good system down, and so these YSA kids worked for about 3.5 hours, and they figured it out. So that was really great service for us. We think it'll be better for browsing for the community. It was one of those that they wanted to check off the box, and it's good when people want to invest in us that way. And then I led a team of youth that was cleaning the hall. So I got 12-year-old boys, but they were good sports, and we did our best. And then I cleaned a little by myself after, but it was a fun day, and we really appreciated the community reaching out to us to serve on that day as well. So, what else can I share with you today? We talked about some upcoming physical and other kinds of projects. We're closing on October 28th and 29th. We'll be cleaning the carpet in the children's wing, and then it needs some drying time, and then we'll also be replacing the stair treads in the children's wing. There's some kind of garish tape on the nose of the stair treads right now because they were all black and people were having a difficult time differentiating the front of the stair, and it was a little bit dangerous. So we're going to be closed on those days. We're trying to get the advertising out. Since Halloween is on a weekday, we will be closing at 6 o'clock on Halloween Monday. We'll get the advertising out for that. We never, unfortunately, catch everyone who needs the advertising when we close, but we hope it won't be too inconvenient for everyone. Anything else that you guys have been wondering about? We're still working on the transition to a new integrated library system, or ILS system. It is at the sandbox place, so staff is working in the virtual sandbox to look at what they like, what they would like to rebuild in terms of the look and feel of it. There's also a lot going on behind the scenes, mostly about the data. So the one thing that is like going to rock the library's world, because we've always had the statement that status is a place. So the status of the book that's on display, that's a place, and now in this new system, location is a location. And so I'm thinking about getting everybody a t-shirt that says status was a place, but I don't know. One little thing we're trying to troubleshoot is sometimes people have multiple cards, whether they've lost a card and da-da-da. So they're trying to troubleshoot a way to do any cleanup of that so that we migrate as many primary card numbers in their appropriate spot, because the primary card number will default to being the card used, and we don't want to cause too much trauma for people if, for example, their Libby app is tied to a different card. Then we're going to have a little disconnect. So they talked about that today to try and figure out different ways if we can do any data cleanup before we migrate that. Most people only have one card, but over the course of history, there's some lost and replaced, and those can be nuked. We don't need necessarily to take on a lot of the data, and we won't be taking a lot of data forward with us. So usage of books, for sure, significant notes regarding your fine history, if you have a recurrent history of needing large fines kind of addressed and things like that. Those kind of things, but not every detail about everything is coming forward, and that's okay. We're going to be leaner and meaner.
With this switchover, will the providers for like e-materials stay the same, or does it switch over to the new system?
No, this just is how we manage the collection. It doesn't change any vendors that we use for any of the collection or databases. It is just the catalog, which I say that as a layman, but the It's how the catalog interfaces for the public and the staff, and cataloging for staff that is an art unto itself. That's a really detailed thing, but we have great staff that does that. We do a lot of cataloging and mending and processing. The catalog helps you identify what you're looking for in the collection, and so we're trying to make that as easy for patrons to navigate as possible. And then we do mending and processing to keep the collection in as quality of shape as possible. Oh, we also had book washers come on the 9/10 day of carrying, so you came and you were armed with a spray bottle and gloves and rags, and so we wipe it all off. And our teen library council is going to be cleaning the kid zone on, I was off on Monday, so my whole week is now adjusted. Might have been today. Or Tuesday?
I think it's Thursday, but the days are all mixed up.
But
We're
that-
all fixed up for days.
They're going to clean that kid zone area too, so
It needs
we need some volunteers.
That's neat.
lots of kids going through here.
We talked about setting up kind of an example machine for people to look at how the changes in the catalog might appear to them. They could play around with it before it goes live, but then when it is live, we'll be working directly with patrons and then on the phone as well to resolve any issues with, hey, my Libby account isn't working anymore, or anything like that might happen. So the reference staff is kind of trying to get ahead of any particulars that could come up, so we don't have too many frustrations unnecessarily. So, anything else that I missed? We have a couple of retirements coming up, both in our acquisitions area, and so we're recruiting for that right now. It's looking pretty likely that we will be having a lateral move from one position to another for that, and then we would backfill the last position. So we are kind of fine tuning the staffing. Acquisitions over time has gone from 2.5 people to 3 people because we adjusted. We had a part-time supervisor when I started, and that just was not working. We needed a full-time supervisor, and they stay very, very busy, but we would like to add more support to circulation. So one of the retirements, the position will not change. It'll still be an assistant librarian, but that position will be reassigned to circulation. It's a budget neutral move, and they would work under the associate librarian who's in charge of circulation, and that will help us with succession planning. Not that Susanna's going anywhere, but just to have more support for the flex staff or variable hour staff, and more ability to do other things in that area. So that's one change that we've been looking to make, and I think it'll work out great for us.
Are their hours gonna be different than like Suzanne's hours?
They could be, like Suzanne doesn't work on Wednesdays because she.
But it's not like they'd be like a swing shift kind of person.
I don't think exclusively, but I'll just check with the visionary, our tech services visionary. Anthony's probably got some ideas for that, but we have supervisors on duty assigned for every hour after hours, and those are associates and up, so associates and librarians who would be in the supervisory role. So if there is an emergency after hours, that person is leading point. If there's a patron who really needs to speak with a supervisor, they are there. So it's not that people don't have that kind of resource now, but we think there can be more continuity and support and other things like that. So I think it's a good move, and we've been making those moves over the course of the last year, just because we have the challenge to eliminate part-time benefited positions. We did that in a number of ways. Some people took an incentive and retired, most of them retired. We were able to offer full-time jobs in a number of spots by combining multiple spots together. And we were able to, we had a graphic designer who was a part-time graphic designer, but she was able to get a full-time job working from home, and remote work full-time was very important to her. So we were able to use one of the part-time slots to flesh out her position into a full-time in-house person. We're not completely against at-home work, but the city is not the business that can have everyone working from home. So I think the maximum negotiation that someone could make for working from home would be 1 day a week, which I believe they've just tried to implement to keep it fair, because there are a lot of employees who just can't work from home. And it's actually, we hope the graphic designer's new position is working out well for her, because it's really been a great thing to have the person in-house and contributing to everything the team does in terms of discussion and planning and hosting and all of those kind of things. So we've had some happy accidents or silver linings out of some kind of rain clouds, but it wasn't just a targeted reduction in part-time positions for the library. It was all of the city, and they did that for a number of reasons, and some of it had to do with dispatch, because we've been having a lot of tweaking of dispatch positions and other things. So it was important for a fair representation across the position.
Anybody else have anything you want to bring up? Anyone online want to bring up anything?
Any questions from the Zoom friends?
Chatty group.
Just a quick question, I was like, do we know anything about our other member that we haven't seen?
Lene was going to reach out to him, and I have not heard if she was able to get a hold of him. We verified, both of us have verified a few times to make sure that we were reaching out on the same information that was put on the application, so that we weren't just not connecting from that standpoint. So I have not heard what her result from that attempt was, but ultimately, at this point, we'll likely have someone new, or is there some real, oh yeah, I need to start that, or if we've made an error that's our fault, of course that would, but I've tried to reach out by phone as well, and I haven't been able to get him, so I don't know, but Lene is the council representative who makes the appointments, and she's aware of it, and she will come to a decision as to what to do with that going forward. But she did talk to me at the last meeting as well.
Just curious.
It's unusual for sure, because his application was current. It wasn't one from like 4 years ago or anything like that.
I'm sad I missed Casablanca film screening on Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's my fault.
We had to cancel an event for Frog and Toad, and we have a student intern who goes to Mazer Elementary, or Mazer School, not elementary, but goes to Mazer, and she encountered the gentleman who's part of the group that was going to produce it, and she said, "Hey, we're looking forward to having that." And he's like, "Oh, we never did that." So that was kind of one of those, oh, yeah, well, okay, we'll take that off the calendar. So that one was a miss.
Well, if we don't have anything else, I guess we can move to adjourn. I want to, I'll second. Or do you have a motion to adjourn as that person? So I think you'd like to, I make a motion to adjourn. Anyone want to second? There we go, that was better. Okay, and then we'll meet again in
Okay.
November.
So September 27th, we'll send out a reminder. You can tune into the city council meeting on YouTube, or it's here in the city council chambers. It will start at 6.
But these are usually at the first, we don't have to wait till the whole thing.
Yeah, it's usually pretty quick,
Okay.
I hope. I don't want to jinx it, but thank you guys so much. Appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you, Charlotte. Always a great meeting.
Good to see you both. I will incorporate those changes, get them out to, I'll get them out to the group by email, and then,
Level people to review that slideshow.
and if there's anything that looks amiss or needs more work, we can certainly do that.
I find myself not quite as stuttery when I've been able to review for things people that are.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
coming. Appreciate it.